Hey folks, welcome to a Legacy video, and this is a sweet one. I haven't played Legacy in a little while. I've been busy testing for various Pro Tour events, but I'm taking a break from Standard for a couple hours to get this league in, and I am so excited to cast Shark Typhoon. Well, I guess I'm unlikely to cast this card. I'm excited to cycle Shark Typhoon. So this list is inspired by Magic Online user Z Zodiac. It's 5-0 from a league. They basically, what this deck is there's a classic Legacy deck called Landstill, which uses the card Standstill. When a player plays a spell, sacrifice Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3 cards. So basically what you want to do is put Standstill into play and then force your opponent to cast spells by doing things that are not spells that apply pressure. So things like, if Myth Realized is in play, this thing will slowly grow to be a giant beatstick. Shark Typhoon, you can pay blue 1 X and cycle it, and you get an XX flying creature. And then Hall of Heliod's Generosity, you can put an enchantment card on top of your library from your graveyard, and Shark Typhoon is an enchantment. So if you stick a Standstill and just make your land drops, eventually you'll find a Typhoon that'll apply pressure. Eventually you'll find Hall, start rebuying Typhoons, and that sort of spell-less pressure will force your opponent to bust the Standstill, and you get to draw 3 cards, which usually draws you another Standstill. And you can just answer whatever they did with your Swords to Plowshares and your Supreme Verdicts, and stick a Planeswalker and then redeploy Standstill. So that's the classic Standstill shell. Standstill used to have to win with creature lands like Mishra's Factory, and they played Decree of Justice, which is actually a very similar card to Shark Typhoon, but instead of one big shark, you get many small soldiers when you cycle it. But this is the updated version. It's Shark time. I've made some changes from the Z Zodiac's list. For starters, I cut the red splash entirely. Z Zodiac had 3 red blasts and a mountain in the sideboard. Red Blast is a great card. Oko's a serious Magic card to have to play against. I understand why it was there. The deck is certainly much softer to Oko because of that. But we have Council's Judgment, we have Myth Realized to pressure, we have Sharks to pressure, we have nothing we really care if it gets turned into an elk, so I'm just going to try to ignore or counter Oko. So the red splash is gone. That opened up a lot of space for more combo hate, so I added 2 Deafening Silence, a second Null Rod, and a second Containment Priest to the sideboard. The way we're going to lose is to combo decks, pretty much. We have Crushing Inevitability against any fair deck. So I stacked the sideboard against combo, and I put in permanent-based hate, because Veil of Summer makes counterspells really unreliable these days. And decks like Epic Storm and Show and Tell, the Omnitel variants that are just full of Veil of Summers, that's a bad time. We're basically never going to beat those decks with counterspells. So you got to stick some hateful permanents. In the main deck, I added this Wasteland and Crucible of Worlds package at the bottom. So sticking Crucible of Worlds means that you can keep hitting your land drops with a fetch land, basically until you run out of lands in your deck, and there's 10 of them. So if you have all 10 lands in play, you should be having a good time. And also, the original list had no way to get back the Hall if it gets wastelanded, which busts up the entire inevitability loop. So Crucible of Worlds also gives you a way to rebuy your Hall. And I put 2 wastelands in the deck, so classic Standstill decks do have a wasteland package, because wasteland is a quote-unquote spell you can play while Standstill is around. So Crucible of Worlds and Standstill have a long history together, and I snuck a little package into this deck. I also added a Supreme Verdict to the main, the Rise of Rug Delver, recently is pretty serious business, and Supreme Verdict is one of the best cards that a control deck can have against them. I thought about changing the Myth Realized around into something different, but then I decided that that's part of the charm of this deck, and I'm going to try it for better or worse. Maybe it's great. So, Myth Realized, riding strong with its new best friend, Shark Typhoon. So, that's the deck, that's what I'm trying to do, and those are my changes to it. Let's get into some matches. Alright, so we're here in round one. We're on the draw, and this hand is a little bit stinky, but I am going to keep it. We play 21 lands. We have a basic island. We're not going to get comboed out on turn one. So I'm going to keep this. When I have play these, Force of Will, we just got him to Tarok. So, but anyway, when I play these blue-white control decks with tons of basic lands, I kind of joke, but kind of mean, that I'll keep any hand with Island Ponder. Alright, Dees. That was basically the best we could hope for. So, they are likely to have Thalia in their deck. I mean, 100% basically. Anyone who goes Cavern Human has Thalia in their deck, which is going to make our hand a lot worse. There she is. So I'm going to have to brainstorm away these Force of Wills pretty much ASAP. I'm going to ponder. Yeah, I'm going to ponder now. Alright, so if I keep this here, I'll draw the two lands, and then a brainstorm would have to look at this counterspell. I have to shuffle this. I need a removal spell. There's one. Alright, so now the game is hitting our land drops and still being alive on turn 5. Which is a big ask against the Eldrazi Humans deck. Right, we didn't get Smashered, so that's good news. Alright, they don't have a land. That's mixed news, honestly. So the good news is that that bought us a turn without them adding pressure. The bad news is their hand is 6 spells, and if they ever find like a Ancient Tomb or something, we're just going to get ranched. Alright, the other good news, though, is that Eldrazi Temple, this Cavern is on Human, so I might want to keep one of these Force of Wills in my hand to counter the inevitable Reality Smasher. Right, one of the forces can go away, and Spell Pierce, I'm sure, has basically no text in this matchup. Right, I'm going to fetch for Plains here, because I don't want to hang this Tundra into play if I don't have to. Like, I can just play the island. And now I have double blue, double white, all basic sources. I can't cast Standstill, unfortunately. If I draw a Shark Typhoon, though, I'm going to jam the Standstill, because I can make a 3/3 Shark with the mana I have, and a 3/3 Eating Thalia in combat for free. It's too good. I'm going to brainstorm in this end step. Walking Ballista for 1. That's probably fine. I'm going to brainstorm in this end step. I guess maybe not. Maybe I just jam the Supreme Verdict. Clear the Thalia. Okay, I like that. So I Verdict, I take 1, but the board is clear. They could have a second Thalia in their hand. That would be kind of shitty, if true, but whatever. Hopefully they just like tap out for some Eldrazi. I can force it and jam Standstill, and then we're driving. Though, I mean, like I said a couple turns ago, they haven't made a land drop in a long time, so... Oh, there it is, shit. And it's even Cavern of Souls. Now we're dead. I needed that to not be Cavern of Souls. Like, where's the Ancient Tomb in your deck? Yuck. Alright, so worst possible scenario. They're still just a dumb creature deck, though. They're going to take a Brainstorm. And then I'm going to use the other Brainstorm to find Swords to Plowshares and jam Standstill. That's my plan. Let's see if it works. Oh, they took the Standstill. Alright, that's interesting. That's reasonable, though. Like, that does deny me the line of, find all the answers and kill them, which I just described. Alright, so Force of Negation has no text, and neither does Force of Will with these double caverns chunk in here. Well, neither does Counterspell. Wow, this deck is really heavy in the wrong direction right now. So I can put back Force, and I can also just hide to Fairy. Wow, I'm actually really close to hard casting Shark Typhoon, which would easily win this game. Okay, so I can Shark Typhoon for 3, just to block if I need to. They found a land again. We're going to get smashed. Oh, we didn't get smashed. That's pretty lucky. Let's see what they do have. Alright, it's a human. It's Thalia. God, that ruins my plans so much. So I probably just make a 3/3 shark here. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to tap out for Shark Typhoon enchantment mode while they have Thalia in play. I would have done it if they didn't. So I can make 3/3 shark. Do. Or I could wait and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can make a 5/5 shark next turn. So basically it comes down to... Right, I'm going to make the 3/3 shark. So this will block the Thalia, or invalidate the Thalia. I'm drawing to Fairy. Basically, I made this choice because I need to get through all these shitty cards on top of my deck. I probably should have saved that land drop. Whoops. Alright. Alright, so I can bounce Thought-Knot Seer. And they get to replay it, but my hand sucks anyway, and I have Brainstorm to hide my good cards. Ooh. That could get interesting. Alright, I don't have Brainstorm to hide my good cards anymore, but I suspect that unless we're just dead to a Reality Smasher, they're probably going to take Crucible, not Brainstorm. But either way, this Myth Realize could get pretty big pretty quick. Like, once I have a 6/6 creature to block future Reality Smashers, we're going to be okay. And Force of Will still counters Walking Ballista through these 2 caverns. That is neither a human nor an Eldrazi. So that's worth noting. We have an out to get burned out, not get burned out. Eldrazi Displacer would be a nightmare, though. Oh god, what is this? 4-mana human. Is this a Palace Jailer? Yikes. Okay, that sucks real hard. Alright, so now we're in all sorts of trouble. However, if I can get this myth realized up to 3/3 this turn, then maybe there's a chance. Thalia is really fucking up my style, though, on that. Let's find a Swords to Plowshares. Alright, still no Swords to Plowshares. Spell Pierce and Force Negation can get out of here. This costs one white to activate, so I still have my land drop. If I find Swords to Plowshares, I can become the Monarch here. Hello, hello? Ugh. Those are the cards that just... Oh, I just cast Brainstorm. I didn't know those were there. Okay. So, draw this. So I could plow Palace Jailer and become the Monarch for sure. Or I could plow Thalia. No, I have to plow Jailer. Alright, boom. Ride or die. Alright, so I'm the Monarch. My hand is mono counter spells, so this Thought Not Seer they're going to cast is not going to be very good. I mean, taking the Crucible, I basically only have fetch lands in the graveyard anyway. Hopefully they just go for a Ballista. There's that. So I am just like awkwardly just kind of dead, even though we had that sweet turn. Oh, they left me with Crucible. That's cool. That means that I can grow my... Alright, I could just sink mana into Myth Realized anyway, so that's fine. But they might be setting up for a Ballista. Thinking about it. Wow, this is a Stoneforge Mystic deck also. Alright, that makes sense why they would have taken the Force. So we know that's a brick. And Stoneforge Mystic can just chump. Alright, yeah, we're dead on this one. Yeah, so that's what their deck is meant to do. Oh, we had so many dead cards against their caverns. But I mean, that happens. That's what sideboards are for. Alright, so cards I'm bringing in. The other two Supreme Verdicts. Mentor to challenge the board a little harder. Disenchant. They probably have chalices and stuff. Spell Pierce can go out. I'm cutting all my soft counters. Right, back to basics, coming in against them as well. So, cutting all the soft counters, like the Spell Pierce and Force of Negation have very few targets in their deck, like if any. And Force of Wills, you can shave on a little bit too. There's still more counter spells than I want in this deck, so I'll get rid of some. That's easy enough. I'll get rid of a Force and a counterspell for the two Null Rods. They showed us Stoneforge Mystic, so we know they have artifacts in their deck they want to activate. So I'm going to go with this configuration for game 2. On the play with the Plains for mana? Nah. This is much better. So I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to bottom Crucible, because that's like a later kind of thing. Definitely don't need that in the opening 7. But we have turn 2 Standstill, and a Force of Will to go with it. Plus Wasteland's very good against their deck. Sucks we had to mulligan. I mean, obviously, that seems like a silly thing to say. But the... Ooh, spicy. The Crucible Wasteland combo is pretty nice against this kind of deck. Yeah, so I'm going to Force of Will that. And then jam Standstill. Yeah, there it is. They're not a deck that can really play around this. They didn't show us a creature land in game 1. Yeah, so they're just going to shove into it. That's a good one to shove into it. Yeah, the ways to play around Standstill are either don't play any spells or jam a spell immediately. I think those are basically the 2 modes. Alright, so I can Wasteland plus Myth Realized. I think that's pretty good. Myth Realized is how I'm going to take this Monarchy. And it sucks that I only have 1 white source. Right, no attack, very smart. Because they're playing around Swords to Plowshares by not attacking. Alright, so I'm going to save this Plow for their turn. There's no reason to do it right now. And I wouldn't want to like Plow this Thalia just for them to have another one. Eldrazi Displacer, and they do have the mana to activate it, so that can just permanently ruin my Myth Realized. So I'm going to get rid of Thalia now before they can save it with Displacer. And then next turn I can Snap Plow the Displacer. And if I draw a white land, I can also just get in. Alright, white land off the top. Shit. We've been teased. Okay, so I could Teferi now. Because that doesn't make any sense, does it? No, I can just Snap Plow on their turn. Snapcaster Mage also presents an attacker. So if they like attack with their things, or they attack with one of their things, right, so Snapcaster, Swords to Plowshares. I'm going to Plow the Displacer, and I'm not going to block the Jailer because I want this Beat Stick to be in play. Clearing the board just actually doesn't favor me. Displacer is devastating against my deck. Look at my threats. Myth Realized and Shark Typhoon. Juice. I think what they're deciding right now is if they want to blink their Jailer. Alright, they decided they do want to blink their Jailer. Deny me my Snapcaster Beats. Alright, so now Myth Realized can fight. Thalia, Heretic, Cathar. Alright, so once again, white land off the top does it, gets us in. Killing me, Smalls. Alright, so I can bounce Thalia. I have another look for a white land. There we go. Jeez. So this will make me the Monarch, and I get my Snapcaster Mage back. And that's realized. Nice card. Unfortunately, I don't have a Ponder in my graveyard. That would have been the full nutters. Oh, there it is. Right on time. I even have this blocker for the Jailer. So they're going to need a haste creature or a removal spell to take the Monarch back. Or another Jailer. That works too. So that's funny though, because it gives me... It puts Snapcaster Mage back under the pile. Oh, ignoring Teferi. That's bold. I mean, they probably don't have instants, so they don't really care about that. But they probably should care about me casting sorceries on their turn. Sort of Fire and Ice, that's a good one. Alright, so Swords to Plowshares definitely gets me my... Or I guess it doesn't definitely do anything. So, to Ponder first. Disenchant's pretty good. The third white source, I believe, is what I was looking for. Oh no, I would need 4 to do everything. Wow, this deck's really white hungry. So, I want the land. Problem is I want all these cards. So, I want the land, I want the disenchant. I guess I don't need the disenchant right now, because I have the Swords to Plowshares for whatever creature they suit up. So I'm going to attack. It's a forced block. Because they don't want me to become the Monarch. They've probably thrown the Palace Jailer under the bus. That's fine. And then on their turn, I can make a Shark for 1, so I have a flying creature to take the Monarch back, and I can plow their whatever they attack with, if they attack at all. I actually think attacking here is kind of reckless. Unless they have Smasher, that's a good one. Chalice for 2. Okay, that means the disenchant on top of my deck's a lot worse. So I'm gonna fetch to shuffle that away. Attacking Teferi, bummer. Alright, get out of here. I really enjoy the ability to cast my sorceries as instants against deck like this. Like a mid-combat Supreme Verdict against a Stoneforge Mystic deck is just hot bananas. There's another Stoneforge Mystic coming. Or not. Maybe. Thalia, Heretic Cathar. Creatures and non-basic lands. Alright. I'm fetching a basic land, so that doesn't matter. I think I just do want the third planes. My Shark's going to come into play tapped. Null Rod, okay. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Right, none of their things have reach, so we're getting in here. Becoming the Monarch. Getting Snapcaster Mage back. Oh my god. Get Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, putting Snapcaster Mage under a Palace Jailer is a serious risk. Like, you better hope that they never get the Monarch back. That was a sweet game. Alright, their deck is like more of like a Eldrazi soldiery stompy thing. They have Chrome Moxes and everything, so I'm glad I brought the Null Rods in. I was right, they did have Chalice. I think they picked the wrong number for their Chalice when they drew it, but that was a complicated game. No shade. Alright, so knowing what I know now, does anything change? We've now seen Cores, Eldrazi's, humans, and constructs. So their caverns are kind of stretched, but Force of Will is still pretty embarrassing. Back to basics, we saw some basic lands, so this isn't the lights out I expected it to be, but it is still pretty good. And every removal spell I play is already in the deck, so I'm not sure what I'm looking for out of the sideboard. There's nothing to change, and I guess Containment Priest is just a flash threat. If they're on this like multiple Palace Jailer plan, Containment Priest just as a surprise 2/2 might be pretty good. Myth Realize dominated that game. I guess I already have Mentor and play in the deck. Shark Typhoon is the ultimate flash threat. Yeah, I don't think I need something cheesy like this. Especially, this makes their jailers better, because then I won't even get my Snapcaster Mage back if I become the Monarch. Alright, I'm convinced to leave that out. I actually just really like our side of the matchup as the blue-white control deck. Oh my god. I'm going to keep this, though it is dangerous. This is the kind of hand that if they go turn 1 Chalice, we are in a lot of trouble. And here it is. Fuck my life. Alright. Alright, team. Hard mode activated. Well, we can't make any plays, so let's hope they can't either. Shit. Their deck is so good at doing what it was supposed to do. Oh man, multiple Thalias. Alright. So, we need to be alive long enough to cast Disenchant or Teferi or Council's Judgment to clear this Chalice. And our hand kind of goes off from there. I guess if we just hit our land drops and start making sharks, we could win this game that way. It depends on how much action they have left after all this other stuff. Alright, no action this turn. I want to run out all my fetch lands first, because they've shown me 3-mana Thalia. Alright, so we're going to get to stick Null Rod this turn, and Teferi next turn. Alright, so a plan is coming together here. I'm just going to get planes with all of these, because I have the other island in hand already. So they didn't make a play last turn, and now we just effectively Stone Rained them. Shit, now they unstone rain themselves. Here comes the Smasher. Right on time to take my Teferi. Alright, now we're looking for Supreme Verdict. His Council's Judgment, Second to Fairy, Disenchant, all still pretty good here. Wow, why did they do that? That was a weird play that I don't fully understand. I couldn't even cast that card. Okay, so here's the thing. The Thalia plus Chalice squeeze is pretty serious business. If I can play Teferi, and it'll just die, and they'll just get this back. So navigating this actually sucks a lot. I think I'm going to bounce Thalia, because if I bounce Thought-Knot Seer, I get it to draw an extra card, but then they just get to take my best card. So I'm looking for a Supreme Verdict at this point to clear this board, and I think Thought-Knot Seer is going to attack Teferi this turn. Unless they have Smasher, then they're just going to go face. Alright, face is the place. So we have one draw to find the Supreme Verdict, though I think we win if we find it. Alright, deck. Show me the money. Bummer. Alright, yeah, we are just dead. This creature has trample. Okay. We kept a hand that was dead to Chalice of the Void against the Chalice of the Void deck, so appropriately punished. On to the next one. We're on the play for game number 2. Island Ponder, that's a keep. So I'm actually going to leave up Spell Pierce here. I know I always say Island Ponder, snap it off, but if they are a Chalice deck, if they are a Storm deck, we're going to feel pretty silly for pondering instead of holding up the one-man interaction. Though if they're Elves, alright, it's not Elves. So I'm not going to Brainstorm on the end step. We can do better than that with a Brainstorm. So I'm going to Ponder, hopefully find a land that casts Swords to Plowshares, and we did. So this might be Infect, or it might be some sort of Leovold deck. The decks that go Verdant Catacombs, Basic Forest, Noble Hierarch, and Legacy are pretty small. It could be Maverick. It's likely Maverick now that we see this. Alright, almost certainly Maverick now. Birds of Paradise is a Maverick card. Sylvan Safekeeper. Yeesh. Alright, I think that's fine. So I could... I know that my next draw is Spell Pierce, which is not a card I'm interested in. So I guess I could Swords to Plowshares the... So there's a lot of things we can do here. So I can Wasteland the Savannah. They'll probably save Birds of Paradise in response, because it's dying anyway. And then I can plow it in response. Or I could plow first and see what they do about that. Alright, I'm going to plow first and hope they sack the forest. I guess the question is, assuming everything works, this is the one that actually gets 2 mana sources out of play. Wow, they just let that happen. That was weird. Yeah, that was free to protect the bird, so they probably should have done it. And I had the punish anyway, but... Oh, wow. We got both their lands with that Swords to Plowshares. It's interesting that this creature... So, Birds of Paradise taps for any color, but it dies to a Stiff Breeze, compared to Basic Forest, which only makes one color, but is basically indestructible in Legacy. So they must have non-green things they want to cast. Here's the Spell Pierce. Alright, Brainstorm, find me a fetch land. Let's get out of here. None of those are fetch lands, but we did hit a land drop, and now the Spell Pierces are alive. Because I can pitch them before so well. So we're kind of seeing the best and worst of the all-basic mana base, because their Wasteland has no targets, and it's not going to. But we have 3 lands, 2 of which cast none of the spells in our hand. Probably have like a Knight of the Reliquary or something here, Thalia. Easy force on that, put that Spell Pierce to work. And then we draw Teferi. I think I want to plus Teferi. I guess it's kind of close. So if I minus Teferi and they sack a land, they're down another mana source, but Teferi dies. But I could also just plus and see what happens. I think that's probably better. Because plussing is the same. Like plus, they only have 1 power in play. Like I can just minus next turn. Like I still have to ferry around with 4 loyalty next turn to see how things look after that. Ooh. That's a spicy lad. I'm going to counter it. So they are like a Dark Maverick. There are black cards in their deck. Appropriately indicated from when they kept the Birds of Paradise over the basic forest earlier in the game. We sniffed that one right out. Alright, so I can just do that same thing again. Or I can do this. See what they do. Like if they want to lose a land over this, I think they should. I think it is right for them to sack a land here. Like this Wasteland is not very good. Yeah, alright. I agree with that play. But they haven't hit a land drop in a long time. And I want to tax this Safekeeper. Because I'm eventually going to want to remove some creatures. Uh-oh. The real sub and Safekeeper. Alright, Teferi's going to die. Sharknado would actually be a pretty hot draw. Alright, so we're getting back into unknown cards. These are wilds off the top. Nice. Alright. So now Counterspell's active. We're not under much of a clock here, and that's good. There's a Supreme Verdict in the deck that we're just always drawing to. Use those slow beats. Nice. All right, and this is where the blue decks break off from the non-blue decks. We're both top decking. There's not much going on, but I just drew Brainstorm. All right. I was saying, they also drew Brainstorm, kinda. So, I'm going to counter this. Because that's the kind of card that can get them taking over this game. They are ahead. Like, if neither of us ever draws another spell or land, like, nothing happens, they win this game 14 turns from now. But, with... I will have better top decks than them most of the time because my deck contains Brainstorm. Hello, hello. Alright, so now I get to ambush this Safekeeper in combat. Alright, Wasteland. Now they can probably cast spells. Like they might have like a big Knight of the Reliquary they've been holding back for a while, or a Plague Engineer. Please don't name Shark. What level are they on? Are they a genius? Monk, okay. That is usually the right thing to name. Shark attack. So now they can lose their Safekeeper or tap their mom into my 3 fresh cards. Right, if they were going to tap mom, they should have done it before blocks to get their 1 damage through. Let's see if they let this go, or if they just missed the damage. Alright, yeah, they missed the damage. Alright, Brainstorm, let's take over this game. Another Shark. So I could Brainstorm here, or I could just make a 3/3 Shark. I think I like that. I'm winning this race, kind of by a lot, if nothing else changes, so let's get in there. Alright, they're hitting land drops now. We know every card in their hand is a spell. Leovold. That's a pretty good one. It is what it is. I'm here to race at this point. Leovold doesn't stop Shark Typhoon. I guess I should have fucking brainstormed in response. That was bad. Yeah, I was thinking about maxing out the Typhoon, but I definitely should have brainstormed in response. Stand still. That's not very good with Leovold in play. Alright, Swords to Plowshares. I'm safe. I'm going to leave my 3/3 Shark back to tangle with Leo. I guess they have Safekeeper and Mom. They're attacking for more than I am, so I guess I just leave everything back. Yeah, I fucked up by not brainstorming there. Now we're looking for a Supreme Verdict. Oh, if they attack with Leovold and I block with Shark and they give Pro Blue, or if they attack with anything, then they still have Safekeeper. Alright, yeah, definitely looking for only... Okay. It's time to trade off. So I could plow Leovold now, and that would leave them with 1 less mana to work with in their second main phase, but 1 more card. plow my shark also. Alright, so now that they tapped low, I think sending them into their second main with only 2 mana to work with is fine. Supreme Verdict. Force of Will. Not quite what I was looking for. Alright, so I have a whole hand of uncastable things. If I find a fetch land, it might become worth it to brainstorm into the Leovold just to see one new card. It's kind of hilarious how bad Standstill is against Leovold. Teferi, what do you do? Probably nothing. Yeah, I can't draw a second card. Might gain me 5 life, so I'll do that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I am dead on board if they attack with Mom. I think they just should do that, because they have Sylvan Safekeeper. Yeah, they should just attack with everything. And I'm just definitely dead. The best thing for me that they could do is attack Teferi instead of me. Alright, now they don't even care. They shouldn't have cared anyway, but here he comes. Oh, they didn't. They did not attack for lethal when the option was there. I guess Snapcaster Mage. Supreme Verdict for the punish. Don't freeze me in my upkeep, opponent. Let me draw my Supreme Verdict. Snapcaster Mage, what do you do? I think the answer is nothing at all. I can't ponder because of Leovold. Plow doesn't matter. Okay. Yep, I am dead. Definitely should have brainstormed in response to that Leovold, though I'm not sure that it mattered, but that's no excuse to play bad. Okay, so bringing in a very similar collection of things to last game because our opponent is on a similar type of deck. Right, I'm going to bring in my Priest. Maverick is a Greensun Zenith deck. It's Realized is hot. Well, Force of Will is better here than it was in the last one. Force Negation and Spell Pierce can get right out. I like... I'm not keeping all 4 forces, but some number are staying in. Teferi isn't super exciting. And the idea of Supreme Verdicting them in combat is great, but I don't really care about the instant side of it. Also, they showed me Leovold, so Standstill becomes kind of a liability. So I can shave one of those, though on the play I might be able to sneak one in on them. Alright, let's do it. On the play, I don't think I could keep this hand. So as good as Island Ponder is, Island Brainstorm is not the same thing, and I don't recommend keeping those hands. This one is also not exciting, but it does line up like pretty well against what our opponent's going to be doing in the early game. So I'm going to bottom one of these priests and just hope I draw a land on turn 2 for the standstill. So they're going to play some mana creature for me to plow here. Alright, I'm kind of glad we got that out of the way, because Dryad Arbor is, I think, their only way to get a threat into play without casting a spell in this deck. So if I draw the blue land for standstill right now, then they're going to have to break it. Alright, didn't happen. It's alright. Let's do that same thing again. Though, if they have turn 2 Thalia, we're probably dead. This looks like Thalia. Oh good. It was not Thalia. It was a card I'm very happy to point Swords to Plowshares at. Alright, deck, help me out here. Tilt. Alright, now we're in trouble. Knight of Autumn. Alright, that's a 4 power creature. Yeah, I mean, obviously, with a land, this game becomes really good. Oh, there you are. Right on time. Alright, so I do want these lands. I don't want that standstill, not anymore. It had its chance to be good. They were under a pretty serious clock from this Knight of Autumn, but with this land and the one on top, we're going to have 4 mana to work with, which gives us our Supreme Verdicts as outs. What they deploy this turn is going to determine how fucked we are. God, that looks like a Leovold mana. It is Leovold mana. Okay, so I'm going to back to basics here. Oh, I just noticed that this Scalding Tarn doesn't get... It gets Tundra, but it doesn't get Plains. So that kind of sucks. I'm going to back to basics them. Try to stymie the beats a little bit. Containment Priest can absorb a little bit of damage, but we do need real answers to these beefy threats, and quickly. Ponder. So I can ponder just to look at my top cards. I'm not going to get the draw off Leovold, but that's okay. Gotta know what I'm working with. Snapcaster Mage. That one's pretty good. So if I go to 1 here, alright, so I can go to 1 and end step Containment Priest, and then I draw Snapcaster Mage, and on the next turn I can double block Knight and plow Leovold, or vice versa. Assuming they have no spells and don't do anything, of course. Yikes. Alright, well. Now I can... Alright, so now I just have to plow and jump. Plow Leovold, jump Knight of Autumn. I'm not sure if letting them untap does anything. Like Veil of Summer doesn't stop this. Shit. Alright. I guess that doesn't matter. It saves the Leovold, so like it's in their hand instead of just gone, but it's not going to untap, and they're never casting this Leovold again. I am dead to Swords to Plowshares, though. Let's see if they add it. They do, in fact, have it. I guess I'm not... yeah, I am just dead to Swords to Plowshares. I'm one life point short. Alright, so... that game we kept a sketchy hand. I'm not convinced it was wrong. Like, that game was competitive, even though I just didn't make a second land drop until turn 3 or 4. So, unfortunately, like sometimes in Magic you have to keep hands like that. Like we had double plow and then an insane follow-up and standstill. We just didn't get there. So, that happens. I regret nothing. I regret not drawing a second land, but I don't regret the keep. I think it was a totally reasonable hand to keep in that matchup. Alright, we are on the play here in round 3. We have our first turn 1 myth realized. Let's see how this thing does. So, I have a policy of never fetching Tundra if I don't have to, but I'm kind of interested in, like, if I fetch Tundra and they play Wasteland, would that be like such a tempo loss that Myth Realize gets to get even bigger? And I decided I'm not going to mess around with that. Like, I'm just going to make the safe play, but I think that is interesting to think about. Oh, this is a long pause. Are they going to force will my Myth Realized? Alright, that's fine. It got in. Oh, we're in some sort of Tundra mirror. Alright, we have our Typhoon lined up. Polluted Delta. I don't have any of those in my deck, so yeah, they're doing something different. Baleful Strix. I can trade a Shark for that. That's not a huge deal. I could also just jam to Fairy. Alright, they're some sort of Esper deck, so I'm gonna stop playing around with Wasteland. Alright, to Fairy. Get in there. Wow, it just resolved. I wonder if they have their own Teferi. Flicker Wisp. Alright. I'm going to reset my Myth Realized or untap one of your lands. Untap a land. Got it. Alright, so this is Esper Vial. This is not a control deck. Well, they are kind of a control deck, but they're not like a Miracle's Mirror kind of control deck. Oh, hey. Speaking of control. Yeah, This is the first time we're really going to see this deck go off. Off we go. And they could just like take the medicine, plow this, let me draw 3 cards. And oh no, they can't because I have to ferry. Got him. Alright, and I have the force back up for like whatever they decide to break my standstill with. Always make sure your standstill happens first. Alright, so they can have Meddling Mage. Like Shark Typhoon can just eat that in combat. They might name Force of Will if they're trying to sneak something through this turn. They're more likely to name Swords to Plowshares, though, would be my guess. Or they could just proactively turn off Supreme Verdict. I'm glad I'm on this side of the matchup. Jason the Mind Sculptor. Alright, I only have one of those, and I'm not going to cast it anytime soon. Alright, so I can just hold up a big shark, or I could jam this Crucible and start getting huge advantage. I think I'd rather shark. Yeah, I can ponder on their turn, no reason to do it now. They can't really attack with Meddling Mage because Mithrilize is there. Baleful Strix can get in though. I have this wall of counterspells. Baleful Strix doing the Lord's work over there. Aether Vial is not a card I can tolerate. That fucks up my my standstill plan way too hard. I can shark later. Like I'll just ponder this turn instead. Let's counter that plus ponder. Spell Pierce is an easy pitch to Force of Will if I need to pitch something. Right, Strix is real good, but I'm not going to force it. Meddling Mage, huh? I don't need 3 lands. I have Crucible of Worlds, so I have infinite lands. Right, I drew more lands anyway. I really don't think they're going to name Crucible of Worlds with this Meddling Mage. Terminus, alright, that card's not in my deck. Alright, so I'm going to hold off on the Crucible again. I think Shark Typhoon is just too sweet to leave up. I won't trade it for a Strix. I will eat a Meddling Mage if they get in. Venser, Shaper Savant. That's going to be a no from me, dog. This deck probably has Baron in it now, the new Baron from M21. That card's probably really good. So I can Shark for 3 and activate Mithralized. Mithralized is actually kind of doing a disservice right now. Ooh, I lied. I was going to say that it's preventing them from attacking, so I'm not going to get any free eats with the Shark. But they must have a Swords to Plowshares, or else this attack doesn't make any sense. Alright, so I can make... They're all coming out to Fairy. So I can make a 3/3 Shark. and activate Myth Realized, and they can't have two Swords to Plowshares. So I'm gonna get to eat one of these Meddling Mages, or they can just pack it up. Alright. Maybe they were willing to just spew a Meddling Mage to answer Teferi, and that play blew them out. Interesting. We played against a lot of fair decks, like really like board control type fair decks in this league so far, which is the exact opposite of my recent experience where I just play against mono, Perfect Storm, and Dredge. Right, Containment Priest can brick Aether Vials. Back to Basics is brutal against them. Force Negation, very little text. Spell Pierce, very little text. Force of Will. Force of Will is like fine, but I'm not super excited about it. Like if they get the vial in under the Force of Will, then the Force gets really bad. I think Standstill is kind of a liability too against the Aether Vial deck. I'm gonna leave some in, but like if they have turn 1 Vial on the play, especially now that I've shaved down my forces, then it's not really reasonable to cast Standstill. Alright, I might bring a third Standstill back in if there's a game 3 and we're on the play. But on the draw against the Aether Vial deck, I don't think I want that. All my removal spells in, all my muggers are in. My flash creatures. Null Rod has utility against Standstill, but like, or not Standstill, Aether Vial, but only Aether Vial. So I'm bringing in Disenchant, which also pretty much only hits Aether Vial. So is Null Rod a defensible thing to also bring in? I guess the question is, what would I cut? Probably another Force of Will, but I want enough that I'm likely to have one when I need it. Teferi is probably medium against this deck. But once again, this is the type of deck where a Supreme Verdict in combat should be GG. But yeah, Teferi affects the board, and Null Rod does not. So, alright, I'm just going to ride the one Disenchant. Maybe it makes sense, now that I'm thinking about it, now that it's too late and we're already in the match, maybe if I'm going to play one answer to Aether Vial in my deck, maybe it should be one Null Rod and not one Disenchant. So I'm keeping this hand because it can force a turn 1 Vial, and then we have some card selection after that. So I was saying that if I'm playing exactly one card to answer a resolved Aether Vial, it should probably be Null Rod because it would answer multiple Aether Vials instead of just one. Alright, the basic Plains Aether Vial hand. Island Ponder, baby. Myth Realized, another land, another shark. So this is not super exciting. So I'm going to shuffle it. Basically, if they Thalia me on this turn, that's going to suck, but anything else is probably going to be okay. Alright, Aether Vial kind of sucks too, but it's not Thalia, so we'll take it. Oh, they were on a 1-lander with 2 Aether Vials? Okay. Swords of Plowshare is a good card. I'm going to hold up Counterspell. I will probably do the rarely seen end step Brainstorm. Or maybe I won't. No, I'll go to my turn and do it. Oh, please cast Thalia straight into my Counterspell. Alright. Literally anything that was put on the stack was going to get Counterspelled this turn, because it's very quickly going to become irrelevant through this Aether Vial. So I'm happy to get value out of that card while we still can. Brainstorm, hook it up. That's not much of a hookup. So these two cards. not showing up anytime soon. So this is an interesting call. I could waste them and like put them all in on this Aether Vial, or I could have Wasteland in play as a land and try to get some mid-sized sharks. I'm pretty sure I want to screw them, because if they're like, what Aether Vial represents in a game is a mana advantage, but if I'm hitting land drops and they only have Aether Vial, then it's kind of a wash. Like, it's when they have lands and Vial, so they can cast spells and slide-in creatures, that's where you run into lots of trouble. We really need a fetch land that makes white here. Like, if I can find white mana... Alright, still no white mana. Yeah, like, if I find white mana with this double plow hand, we should be pretty comfortable for a little while. Like, they have 3 cards, or now 4 cards in their hand. Every card in their deck is a creature, pretty much. So, like, Plow just answers. Alright, now they're back down to 3 cards. So Plow just answers almost everything they're doing. Unfortunately, we just have to, eat it this turn. I can make a 1/1 shark in their end step, and that'll get us through the brainstorm lock, and then we're drawing wild in our draw step again. Oh, this Vial just hasn't done anything. They did leave it on 2, despite not activating it. Interesting. I wonder what's in their hand. It's probably Venser. Alright, so this cycle gets us through the brainstorm. Alright, that's a good card. So I could attack my shark straight into a Baleful Strix. Or I could just jam this back to basics and leave the shark on D. Like, if their hand is Force of Will, like, that might be a card that's in their hand. Yeah, I'm not going to attack. My job is to stay alive. Like, if I attack for 1 and put them to 18, and then end a turn, they vial in, like, some attacking creature, then cast some other attacking creature, and then vial in something else. Like, that's all fucked. Alright, Leonin Relic Warder. That's a pretty mediocre answer to back to basics. Our Swords to Plowshares will unlock that if we ever draw a white land. Meddling Mage. That's probably going to name Plow. Teferi. Interesting. I do have that card in my hand, but it is not the most threatening card that I play. Alright, so I'm going to cycle for 1 right now, try to hit my land drop on my turn. Alright, someday we'll be so ready. So unless they have a removal spell or something, or like a lord of some kind, then they don't really have good attacks right now. Interesting. Alright, so they must have Flicker Wisp, but I'm not going to not do this. I guess the other... Oh wow, is this just happening? Maybe they were bluffing me and I just called. That's weird. Ugh. Killing me, Smalls. My deck does play more lands than most Legacy decks. There are 21 lands in this deck. And these were all naturally drawn. I didn't even fetch anything. God, what are they doing? The Vial on 3 didn't put anything in. They haven't cast a spell with 5 mana. What is happening? Are they just flooding out? So there is an old adage in Magic the Gathering, which is that screw beats flood. I am screwed and they are flooded. So if they don't close quickly, like as soon as I find the plains, we're gonna take this over. Plains, maybe? Oh my god. Maybe. This gives us a good chance to find one. Nope. How about now? Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh no, it's Tundra. Alright, so I actually kind of need this Crucible. So Myth Realized is long gone. Or Teferi Time Raveler is even worse because it's currently Meddling Maged. Alright, so I'll play this Tundra. So I think that it is better for me to disenchant the Vial than to plow the Meddling Mage with my 1 white mana here. I guess they don't even need to waste it because I'm under my own back to basics. What an idiot I am. I kind of hope they do waste it. Wouldn't that be funny if the right play was to disenchant my own back to basics? I might do that if they didn't have Wasteland, but they do. Right, so I can snap Ponder next turn, like worst case scenario. Right, so they top bottomed with their Scry. Yeah, I'm going to disenchant the Vial here. They have a Flicker Wisp or whatever. This is going to force the action. Then once this Vial's cleared, I can snap Ponder and start looking for action. Snapcaster is also just a creature that gets to be in play. If they have Force of Will, this is a really good time to use it. Just looking for a Plains. Shuffle that. Oh, sweet relief. Alright. We're in the game, team. So, I think I just want to plow now. Like if they are holding up Force of Will, I don't want them to be able to hard cast it. I guess it doesn't matter. They don't have a Vial anymore. I'm just going to sit on this plow. I might be able to break up a Flicker Wisp with it or something. Then the Crucible with that Prismatic Vista will hit the rest of my land drops this game. Meddling Mage. That one will definitely name Plow, so I'm just going to plow this Prince in response. Prince is the more interesting card. Like, I don't give a shit about Teferi Time Raveler being uncastable. They're thinking hard about this one. Alright, they came to the right conclusion. Easy block. Yeah, I will trade off anywhere. I have 5 cards in hand and they're 2. So it's a lot better for me. Alright, so Myth Realized, let's go. Crucible of Worlds, let's go. Trigger the Myth. Alright, Force. They were holding Force of Will the whole game. Fair enough. Alright. Now they're Hellbent. I have Snapcaster and Supreme Verdict. Myth Realized. So if their draw right now isn't really good. They're sitting on this Supreme Verdict. Fetching. Do they have some 4-drop they're casting? Recruiter the Guard. Alright. Probably getting Palace Jailer would be my guess. Or they could get like Baron, and Baron bound Strix could just go off. Soul Herder also goes off. Fair enough. That's a good card. Alright, so we know their 1 card in hand is Soul Herder, so if we just draw a white source right now to clear out their creatures. I'm just going to ponder here. I guess it's possible I should have held the Snapcaster for Counterspell on the Soul Herder. Though I'm not sure about any of that. So I could Wasteland now, and that'll at least tap them out. I like that. Because like if they see the Wasteland in play, they might just tap the Tundra to cast Soul Herder, because it's going away anyway. Alright, my soul is being herded. They have 1 good attack here. Then they can recruit something. And I'm still just 8 planes away from taking over this game. This deck is so cool, though. This Esper Vial deck. I'm really into it. It's not my style, but I like that it exists. Planes? Oh, yeah. Just get our attack in here. I'm sure they see the writing on the wall from this attack. Boom. Alright, now the handful of removals reopened. We have a threat in play. Back to basics, has them constricted to just their Esper basics. Top bottom. Let's ride. If they block, that's fine. If they don't, I'm just going to plow the Prince. Before damage, so I get the extra myth counter. Lore counter? What's on this thing? Lore counter. I'm not going to brainstorm right now because every card in my hand is good. Like, what am I looking for? Alright, Recruiter of the Guard, Master of the House. That's a Les Miserables reference, if you didn't get it. Alright, now we're just going through the motions. Ooh, the Hall. Oh, the non-bow. Alright, Hall doesn't do anything for me. I guess I could rebuy a Shark Typhoon once. That's pretty cool. Or I could brainstorm it away. That's also pretty cool. Myth Realized taken over again. Oh, Jace the Mind Sculptor? Okie dokie. I'm pretty sure I just want to stick to Fairy and attack for 1,000,000 this turn. I'll tuck this Supreme Verdict and Jace away. I'm going to bounce the Recruiter. Like, I know they get... Oh, JK. They pitched their Soul Herder. Okay. I'm fine with that. And let's get in for 6. I'll play out the Hall. It'll get me a bigger shark at some point. Beat down. So we're drawing Jace this turn. So if I play Jace, bounce Strix, attack for 7, that puts them in a tough spot. I'm actually going to tap the Hall to leave up Swords to Plowshares just in case they find something spicy to fuck with me. I don't know what it could possibly be, but just don't want to lose to some shit from this position. I guess I could have just plowed the the Strix and brainstormed with Jace. That probably made more sense. But I think we're far enough ahead that it would be hard to lose this one. Oh, they get to bounce my Myth Realized. Bummer. Alright. So I'll plow Recruiter. And we have a Shark that can do the last few points. Should be fine here. Either Vial. Alright. It's a little late for that. Containment Priest, pretty decent. Myth Realized can go away. And Scalding Tarn. Yeah, so my plan is to just make a 4/4 Shark and then bounce their Baleful Strix to win. Shark Typhoon is not a spell. It's an activated ability, so you can do that even through a Teferi. That interaction has come up for a lot for me lately with the Pro Tour testing, because basically every deck in the format at Standard right now plays Shark Typhoon, and many decks play Teferi. What is this shit? Okay, that I don't care about. Honestly don't care about that. I will make them dead and become the monarch, all in one big sharky swing through the air. Big wet slap. I don't know if this deck plays any 1-drops I need to worry about, and they don't. Alright, we did it. That was a sweet match. These have all been pretty sweet matches. Let's keep it going. Alright, I'm going to keep this hand. We're on the draw here in round 4. This hand has a turn 2 standstill. If we make it that far, I guess we'll see what we're playing against. Flooded Strand deck. Let's hope this is Ponder and not Delver of Secrets. Okay, Astrolabe. That card is still legal in the format. This has been the fairest league I've played in a long time. I'm not going to lie. Alright, we have our colors online, hit another land drop. So, ideally, we'll just slam Standstill next turn. I guess I could also just hold my horses a little. But why? Okay, so the way that we drew Force Will for turn, so I'm definitely just jamming Standstill. I was about to say, the way we could get punished here is if they Spell Pierce this, untap, and jam Oko. But I do have Force of Will to interact a bit. Hopefully this is just a Brainstorm and not a Spell Pierce. Alright, Brainstorm's fine. They're looking for the answer. And we're in there. Turn 2 Standstill in a Control Mirror. Time for the young kids to learn what this is about. Okay, so basically, at this point, the first person to miss a land drop is going to be heavily disadvantaged. Which is dangerous for me because I'm only holding the 1. But I do have Shark Typhoon, so I can continue to take game actions under the Standstill. I am not going to waste them. That's not what this game is about right now. Especially not with my 0 lands in hand. So I'm going to make a 1/1 Shark in the end step. Assuming they just go land go, I'm going to make a 1/1 Shark in the end step, get my cantrip, start my beats. Alright, come on, let's find some lands. Ooh, Crucible is hot, but it's not a land. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I'm in danger. Well, I don't have to discard yet, so I'm just going to ride this a little longer. So, another way to play around Standstill, and I think we're about to see it, is you wait till they have 7 cards in hand, and then pop it in their end step. So then they have to discard all of the cards they draw anyway. Alright, so what is the play here? I don't think I want to Brainstorm here, because I want Spell Pierce to be up. Yeah, that was a really good play against Standstill. Made possible because I missed my land drop. And I'm kind of glad that happened, though, because we weren't hitting a land drop for a long time. Alright, so I'm going to go to my end step rather than try to do anything else right now. I'm keeping Crucible of Worlds because that's my engine. So I guess I can plow one of these. That'll save me from discarding 1 card. So I think it's going to be Myth Realized and one of these Ponders. Maybe it's just Jace. Yeah, it's going to be Jace. I'm a long way away from making Jace happen. That's not a card I'm interested in playing against. So I am going to brainstorm in my end step here. Like, it's pretty important to hit my land drop next turn. Alright, and we did. So, put back. Something I put back is going to get shuffled away. Or, I guess the Prismatic Vista out of the graveyard could function as my land drop. Or I could wait a turn on that. I have Spell Pierce now, but they left up 2, so that doesn't even protect me from a lot of stuff I'd be worried about. Snapcaster can't do anything because I don't have double blue. Alright, so I'm going to put back Brainstorm, Council's Judgment, Brainstorm. Alright, I'm going to cast the Crucible with blue up. I think if they have a force, they're going to force this. So like I can at least demand action. Alright, that was interesting that just resolved. Now I feel silly for leaving up the blue, but now I can ponder. Council's Judgment, Island Shark, Typhoon. No shuffle. Alright, so there's a land 2 down that I can brainstorm into if they answer my Crucible. So they could just Oko my Crucible here. Alright, Jace. That's probably going to brainstorm. They could bounce my Shark, but that doesn't even sound good. Alright, so Jace is going to be a tough thing to answer. We basically need to beat down with a Shark to make that happen. Or I could just cast this Council's Judgment that I've had floating on top of my deck for a while. Alright, this will get the force if they have the force. Yeah, there's the force. Okay. The force was of will and not of negation, and that's actually a lot better because that means my Snapcaster can play. I'm fetching now because I don't want to draw that land next turn. Let's get the block here on a 1/1 so I can make a 3/3 Shark in the future and actually hit the Jace. Yeah, so basically, like, they have this engine, and I have this engine. This engine is better, but less than you might think. Ooh, okay. That engine is very good. Though it does not interact with Shark Typhoon. So I might just like aggro Snapcaster in my end step here. I guess depending on what happens right now. Oko. Alright, so Oko can Elk my Crucible, which is kind of shitty. Or they could get aggressive. Alright. Swords to Plowshares. They still have the 2 up. Alright, so I am going to aggro Snapcaster. Actually, no, that's so stupid. What am I even talking about? So if I draw... I'm going to Brainstorm, because if I draw a blue source, I can... Hope they still have 2 up for Force. Alright, it's all bad. I am just going to aggro Snapcaster and see if I can draw out this Force of Will. Alright, I did not draw out the Force of Will. That's not surprising. I'll put a little bit of damage on Jace. They'll probably make an Elk to block this. I can plow that Elk. Yeah, missing these land drops while they didn't has cascaded into this advantage they have now. You know, one of their cards is Force. They did not plus Jace to get away from Snapcaster Mage, so they must be pretty confident they can answer the Snapcaster. So if they have... Like, I'm going to make a 3/3 Shark. That can pressure Jace. If they can answer the Shark, then I can plow the Astrolabe and still tag Jace. Let's hope they just have a fistful of counter spells and no other plays, and hoped it was good enough. It's possible I should have plowed first, and then got in with Snapcaster as well. Oh, Terminus, that's a good card. So I could counterspell the Terminus. They'll force back. Then I can stick Mithrilize. Is that even good? I mean, I guess it gets 2 cards out of their hand. Oh wow, that just happened? Did they put away the Force of Will? Okay, no, they had a plow. Alright, so I should have plowed this Astrolabe before combat to get in on Jace a little harder. So at this point, I think I am just going to plow this now, while I'm pretty sure their shields are low. This Wasteland still isn't doing anything good. Let's see if Mithrilize can carry. Uro's a powerful magic card. Alright, so they have 3 spells in hand, because Uro didn't put a land in. Next turn, Uro can be in play. Alright, so now they're plussing. So that will force... They bottomed me. Alright, so Ponder. So now Mithrilize plus Snapcaster Mage can kill Jace. And I have Spell Pierce for the Swords to Plowshares if they have one. I guess if they have Plow, they would just cast it right now main phase while the coast is clear. They chose to shuffle. We like it. I guess they still get to make this into an elk, so Jace is pretty safe. Oh, they didn't do it. Interesting. Alright, I mean, let's get to work. That's a good one to have. Okay, so this is probably going to brainstorm into a terminus. Why would you brainstorm in response to the activation if that's the case, though? They still have that Force of Will floating somewhere. So if they did find the plow, they have protection for it. Or we just cleared Jace. Alright. I'm into that. I'm just going to hold up this counter spell. Hope it does anything. There's the terminus. I don't even care about that, because I still have Myth realized. I wonder if they misstacked their Brainstorm, or what happened there. So that definitely would have been a lot better in my combat, and they had the Brainstorm to set it up. Here comes Uro, and they have the Force of Will backup. Probably. Likely. Almost certainly. Did they cast that Force already that they were floating a long time ago? Or did they get rid of it, thinking they didn't need it? Weird. Weird stuff is happening, and I don't quite understand all of it. I guess they don't care. They can just cast Uro again next turn. That's probably the real answer. Right, so I could get in on Oko for 3. That doesn't actually do anything, though. I think producing this Shark and trying to pressure Oko next turn is probably better. I guess I'm going to Wrath next turn, so I hope they just bring back Uro, turn this into an Elk, and then... I guess they can't really afford to Elk this Astrolabe, though. Alright, now they can probably afford to Elk and Astrolabe, and I hope they do it. I probably should have Spell Pierced that Astrolabe, getting Myth realized up to 4/4. Oh, I can just tap mana for that, so that doesn't matter. Yeah, so I'm just going to get this up to 4. I'm drawing Supreme Verdict to clear out this stuff. Temporarily. I mean, it's hard to clear out an Oko forever. Or an Uro forever. Or an Oko. I'm getting buried by both of these cards right now, is the reality. Just counting on this Myth realized to carry the day. Uro's back again. They finally worked through their 16-card graveyard. Christ, that card is good. In exactly this sort of situation. Right, yeah, now they are miles and miles ahead with this Uro. I don't really have any action, but my Mithrilize can brick some elks. Oko can't steal this because it's a 5/5. So I could pretty reasonably get this up to 7. And unfortunately, I discarded my Jace like 100 turns ago when they popped my standstill, which probably would have been my best route out of this game. No attack, bold. I'm just going to get this big enough that Uro can't swing into it. I can do shark stuff later. Just shark things. I can make a 5/5 shark now. I can also make a 4/4 shark plus activate Mithralized, which can block Uro and an elk. 5/5 shark, let's go. I'm not sure what this even does, honestly, but it is in play now, and I'll take it. Oh, yes. Chugga chugga. I'm not going to attack, because it doesn't matter. It's better as a blocker. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath is a good card, but have you seen Hall of Heliod's Generosity combined with Shark Typhoon? Are you familiar? You know, I'm basically like stone dead to his Swords to Plowshares. But I mean, here we go. Let's do it. I guess they can elk this also. Let's make it a 3/3 elk forever with 7 lore counters on it. And no other abilities. Oh, it just dies? That's cool too. Shark Typhoon. Oh, right, it just died because it had 3 damage on it. That makes sense. I understand what's happening now. Yeah, I'm just going to sit on this engine for a while. I don't want to attack because they can attack for 9, I can only attack for 5, but having this blocker bricks it pretty hard. I guess they can keep doing that play they just made where they attack and then elk my thing to make it a 3/3 with 3 damage on it. They'll run out of elks before I run out of sharks, though. Counterbalance, don't care. I'm not casting any spells. And we can actually stack this, so the Shark Typhoon draws itself. So I'm making a 4/4 shark every end step and getting back the source of it, plus actually drawing a card on my turn. I think I can attack now. No, I still can't attack because they could just alk up one of their own things. And I can attack, I'm just not going to. Just Snapcaster Mage is now in play. They've realized their engine doesn't beat mine. There's still 4 mana producing lands in my deck, so these sharks could get up to 8/8s, assuming that the game just goes forever. This is pretty exciting. Like, I'm impressed. Like, obviously, like on paper, this engine is very good, but this is exactly the matchup that it's for. And my opponent had Jace active for what, like 4 or 5 turns. This Oko is at 17 loyalty, and they're behind right now. Oh, that's so gross. I'm still not attacking. I'll attack when they're dead. Like the life totals being 33 to 12. Like there's no reason to get frisky here. Oh, it's funny that like Oko normally breaks these control mirrors because it producing a 3/3 every other turn is really strong. I'm producing a 4/4 every turn. Gross, gross, gross. Alright, I'll attack with one of them now. Now I have 3 blockers. The most they can produce is 3 attackers next turn, so I think as long as I leave back 2 sharks plus the Typhoon in hand, I can attack with whatever's left over. So I attack for 4 this turn, it'll be 8 next turn, 12 the turn after that. I wonder if they even have enough cards in their deck to handle all this shit. Alright, another elk. Alright, cool. A land is a great draw, because now I get to make 5/5 sharks. It just makes them dead a little faster. Alright, they can hit me for 5 this turn, but they lose 6 power to do it. Yeah, this is not the most exciting thing to watch unless you're invested in grinding control mirrors. So I hope you're all having the time of your life, just watching me slowly take over this game with sharks. I'm a believer now. Like, this is seriously good. Alright, so that's kind of an interesting play because the Swords to Plowshares letting me gain 4 life so they can push through 3 damage. Or are they going to snap plow the other one? Okay, I'm pretty sure that doesn't matter. I'm going to block a food, not an astrolabe, because astrolabe actually goes to the graveyard to fuel Uro, and food doesn't. They could pretty much kill me with a predict, though. Like, let me haul and then predict me. I hope they don't play that card. Alright, so I have 7 cards in hand, so I'm just going to pass. Yeah, now that they shot up their flurry of removal spells, we can settle back into this holding pattern. I'm ahead on resources, power, cards in library, and time. So I'm feeling pretty good about this game. I'm surprised they haven't conceded. I'm not sure what they're looking for to get back into this, honestly. I guess they could Wrath. Is there even a land left to fetch? Nope. Oh, is there a forest? Oh, Mystic Sanctuary, getting back. Brainstorm, yeah, that's fine. So, like, a sweeper could take the shark pressure off them. I guess Jace could actually kill me. But I can kill Jace. Like, Jace is going to exist for exactly 1 turn. Like, he doesn't have a chance against these sharks. Okay, whatever. There's Jace. I wonder if it's going to Brainstorm, Fate Seal, or bounce a shark. Right, bounce a shark. That really doesn't matter. So they don't have the mana to Uro this turn if I block. I mean, when I block. I mean, I'm obviously blocking. Jace was already activated, so I can do the Typhoon. They might get decked by their own Uro. If they ever bring it back. I'm going to attack Jace with 2 sharks, just to make sure it's dead. I don't want to get punked by like a snake or a plow. And then settle back in. At some point, if their deck gets low enough, I can play Standstill and immediately Ponder and force them to draw 3. Which is a classic win condition in Control Mirrors. Yeah. Wow. Remember when they had Jace and Oko to my nothing like 100 turns ago? That's the highlight reel for this league. Whatever else happens, we won that game. That was awesome. Alright, so I like Mentor to turn the corner, get the job done if we need to. Otherwise, my sideboard is not really built for this kind of deck. I cut all the red blasts. My plan was to beat Delver decks and combo decks, and we've played against 3 Cavern of Souls decks and 1 Snow Pile. So this isn't what I really built the deck for, but as we saw in that game, just like playing well with your blue cards will eventually beat a lot of blue mirrors anyway. So they might have they're going to have Astrolabes, so I could like pick off an Astrolabe as it turns into an Elk with this, or like color screw them. They'll probably have Sylvan Library. Force Negation's good. Flusterstorm versus Spell Pierce is kind of interesting. Like, Flusterstorm's a lot better like fighting over like a Terminus, but Spell Pierce is a lot better fighting over an Oko or Jace. Though I think they're both going to end up dead. Like, based on the way the last round played out. Like, I ended the game with 2 Spell Pierces in my hand. Because there was just never a window to use them, so I'm off that. Surgical Extraction for Uro is probably worth exploring, though. And Verdict is it's kind of weird because their deck, even though we're both control decks, they have Elks and Uro, and I just have Sharks for the most part. So yeah, I'm gonna shave down that way. Actually going to go full 3 Verdicts down to 1 Plow. It wasn't cast. So Uro is still cast, even though it's coming out of the graveyard, so that doesn't matter. Nullrod could shut off Astrolabes, but I'm not trying to get that cute. Alright, let's do it. So we're up 3 minutes on the clock and up a game. So I don't know that my opponent can actually win this match anymore, just with the chess clock. But we're going to try to 2-0 them cleanly anyway. I'm going to Ponder on turn 1. Having the 1 Plow I left in the deck in the opening hand always feels kind of bad. That's something you want to like dig for later. That's all really good. Myth Realized did a huge job stabilizing that mid game as we transitioned into Sharks last game. So both of the like meme cards or whatever you want to call them really delivered. I'm gonna hold up Counterspell. Like it's the Uro turn. I don't need to sneak this Myth Realized in right now. Myth Realized. It's in. Now let's let it work. So they're going to have Red Blast, and I'm not in this game. Like, that's going to be a big deal that we're going to have to work through. Right. I have Counterspell and Force of Will here. I have no expectations of this Counterspell going unmolested, but I hope that our fight works. I'm going to pitch the Supreme Verdict, because all these other blue cards in the hand are a lot better. Red Blast, and then Force, Oko, pitching Supreme Verdict. Myth Realized is getting bigger all along, so this incidental advantage piling up. Alright, they have the Force back, not a huge deal. So Oko's probably gonna make a food. And then I can bounce the food with Teferi. I mean, drawing a white source would be pretty dope here. So I could bounce the food with Teferi, Or I could just plus Teferi and hope they can't do anything. I think I'm going to bounce. I really want to hit this land drop. Alright, so Teferi's going to die to an elk. Not a huge deal. We got a card off it, and now that we bounce their food, the only elk they can make is the Astrolabe. I mean, they have this insane spread of dual lands, so that might not matter too much, but... Slam Jace. Slam Jace. Alright, cool. Don't have a Forcible. Don't have a Forcible. Oh, there's a good card also. Alright, this is beautiful, so I'm going to put back Swords to Plowshares and Shark Typhoon. And I'm going to slam Teferi, bounce the Astrolabe, and then stick Jace next turn. Use the Planeswalker deck now. In bouncing Astrolabe, it gives them a card, but it also takes pressure off the board. We're going to, unless they Red Blast, we're going to be untapping with Teferi to stick Jace. And we're going to have Myth Realized up to block with. So that's all pretty good, if you ask me. There's the Astrolabe back. They haven't hit a land drop in a while. Alright, so they have the Red Blast for Teferi. Which is fine, because I already got a card off it, and now I'm just going to jam Jace. If they can have that land on top, I'm just going to let them have things that don't kill Jace. Like, I had to do that this turn to try to protect the Jace. Like, so we got him in kind of a squeeze now. This is like a classic control deck maneuver of like, Myth realized forces them to commit more things to the board to pressure the Jace, but as they commit more things, Supreme Verdict gets better. So I just have to hope they don't have Swords to Plowshares right now. Does not seem to be the case. What's the follow-up? Is it Jace Bounce Myth Realized? That would be pretty good. Yes, it is. Alright, not bad. Hey, hey. If it is not my favorite Magic card. Alright, let's look for another 1-mana card. We found another 1-mana card. So Supreme Verdict's not the plan anymore. I'll leave it on top in case this goes wrong. Monastery Mentor. And they can trade a food for it, but I'll have double Myth Realized in play at that point, and Supreme Verdict to clear it all back out. I'm into this. And I get to F6 in a Legacy Control Mirror. That's value. See what they got for me. If they trade it for the Mentor, just like we drew it up. Oh, I guess if they plus Jace on me, that kind of sucks. They get to bury my Supreme Verdict. I don't think that's a particularly good play in this spot, though. Alright, yeah, they brainstormed. They agreed. I think brainstorming is just better. Like, now that you have this mentor, you want to snowball with it. So I'm going to be able to plus Jace to stay out of Elk range, Supreme Verdict, attack their Jace to make it dead. My favorite part of this is that they're probably thinking really hard about how to stack the top of their deck because they have counterbalance, but I just have Supreme Verdict, and nothing matters. Easy block there, that's dead anyway. So plus, see what they left on top. Ponder. Yes, I'll bottom ponder. Bang. Creatures are dead. Activate this. Kill Jace. Oh, this myth is so realized. Yeah, I've been genuinely impressed throughout this whole league with Myth Realized. I mean, obviously the deck is built to maximize what it's doing, but this card has been insane. Oh, just a little too late on that one. So we're drawing Prismatic Vista for turn. Jace gets to brainstorm. Oh, baby. That's a lot of mana. Snapcaster Mage. They really only have Ponder and Brainstorm to cast. The Red Blast is already gone. But they're digging for a Red Blast to clear my Jace. That's their frantic dig right now. And they found it. Alright, so this land we're drawing is not exciting. I guess I punted a little bit. I tried to hold that back to bluff something, and that's probably still better, but if I didn't bluff, I could add 2 counters to this myth, and then also activate it and eat an elk. But I can eat a Snapcaster Mage anyway. The hard way. So I took 1 damage more than I needed to in order to hold up this bluff. And it looks like it worked out okay. Oh, hello. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I can't kill Oko, even if I dump in on Myth Realized, so I'm just going to hold up the Shark. And they have 30 seconds left. They're going to time out, which sucks, because this game is actually pretty exciting. Like, they're ahead by now, but it's not by much. And like we saw last game, if I just find the Hall to go with this Shark Typhoon, when I have this much mana, alright, yeah, and they're just dead to the clock. That was an insane match. That game one was really good. If I might have to like break down that match in a separate video on its own. I don't know. I just felt like that was awesome. Newsworthy magic. All right, we're on the draw. We got lands and spells. City of Traders. So Chalice of the Void. I could force this. Or I could force their next play. I'm actually just going to let this happen. That might be crazy, but I have a lot of lands. I have Shark Typhoon. I have Standstill. Ooh. Alright, so here are the things I could do. I could Wasteland them. But City is fragile anyway. So I'm just going to play this Flooded Strand. I'm going to Force of Will whatever their turn 2 play is. And then I'm going to cast Standstill. Unless they go City of Traders, Elvish Spirit Guide, Thought Not Seer, or Cavern of Souls, Thought Not Seer, that would be bad. Alright, so they're a Scalding Tarn deck that was happy to go turn 1 City. I don't know what they're doing. I'm glad I didn't waste that land though, because they just threw it in the graveyard anyway. Awkward. Let's see who wins in the heads-up battle between Chalice of the Void and Standstill. I wonder if there's some sort of Urza deck. If so, good for them. I love Urza, and I approve of any deck that plays the card. Like, this has to be some sort of, like, Tezzeret or Urza, like, Blue Stompy kind of deck, because that's the only thing that plays Chalice of the Void and City of Trader, and blue fetch lands. So I think I'm going to cycle Typhoon now. Just put some pressure on them. I play 4 of these, I can draw another one later to get some bigger sharks happening. Oh. Or we just get the battle cruiser operational immediately. So these brainstorms are Force of Will fodder and nothing else at this point. I've chosen to live in a world where Chalice of the Void is in play. It's working out well so far. Looks like they're going for it, whatever it is. Grim Monolith. Yes, I'll draw 3, thank you. So, since I drew a Typhoon, I'm not going to regrow the first one. I'm just going to Shark up here. Like, there's no reason to loop it if you already have it. And then I can cast a Fairy and jack up their Shiznit. So, do I bounce Monolith or Chalice, I guess is the question. It's probably just Chalice. Maybe I should have played Wasteland this turn. That was probably bad. Alright, so discard Plow, and I probably want Spell Pierce. Plow and Prismatic Vista can go. Discarding Island was probably better than Vista. But I didn't want to lose an actual mana source, if that makes any sense. It's like, I have more fetch lands, and I have Crucible, so like this being in the graveyard is not the worst. But, I don't know, maybe that doesn't make any sense. Chalice of the Void. So if I Spell Pierce this, that taps out their Monolith, and leaves them exposed to Wasteland in the future. So this is a really high value Spell Pierce. Either way, I'm pretty happy with this result. So if they pay for the Pierce, I'll Brainstorm in response, and then let Chalice resolve and continue holding up forces and sharks. I'm going to Wasteland them next turn. Should have Wastelanded them this turn, but what are you going to do? Alright, got it. What's the payoff? Felidar Guardian. That's what we're playing against. Okay, so exile another permanent you control. Yeah, so Felidar Guardian could reset the Grim Monolith, and I just don't want that to happen. So I force this, I waste the Tundra, then Grim Monolith is tapped, and we're getting in for damage. Yeah, so they're Saheeli combo. I like this. They can't force back because I have Teferi, so this is all just gonna happen. I wonder what this pause is. I wonder if they're thinking about conceding, or if they're trying to cast Force of Will and wondering why it's not working. Alright. Or just contemplating how screwed they are. All of them are viable options. Alright. Now I don't feel so bad for not knowing what they were doing based on the City of Traders into Fetchland. Oh my god. A copy artifact. Except it's also an enchantment. Okay, so they have a second Grim Monolith now. And I have another Shark now. Alright, Snapcaster, Spell Pierce, probably good. Snapcaster, Swords to Plowshares also breaks up the cat combo. Alright, so I'm just gonna... I can Ponder at instant speed because of Teferi, so I don't actually need to do anything here. And they're dead on board to my Sharks, so they have to win this turn. Uh-oh. This is getting large. Oh no, what is this card? Add 3 mana of any color. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent control attacks you and aren't blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control of Coveted Jewel. Untap it? What? I think I'm going to counter this, because, like, I win the game. But I am very interested in that card. Well, I learned something new today. Okay, so they have a lot of artifacts, so Nullrod and Disenchant are good. Finally, we play against a combo deck after I built my deck to play against combo decks. Mindbreak Trap might play. Like, I don't know. Probably don't need Supreme Verdict. Decks like this might board into like a Monastery Mentor sideboard plan, but they also might not. So I'm going to pretend they don't until they show me otherwise. Alright, so this is a lot of cards. I'm not sure if I need them all, but it looks pretty good. Swords to Plowshares does break up the cat combo, but I don't need 4 of them. Like, I don't need it to stay alive. Snapcaster, Counterspell, all good stuff. This matchup might be a little too slow for a Crucible, or too fast for a Crucible situation. Council's Judgment, we might need that, I don't know. This is the power of them playing a brew. I don't know what the hell they're doing, or the best way to fight against it. I'll cut a Standstill just to make room for all these other things, but I do think Standstill is still good in this matchup. Teferi seemed like it was doing good stuff. I have to presume that they have Force of Wills in their deck too. Or else why would you be playing this combo compared to anything else? Let's see, Spell Pierce can We saw Spell Pierce deliver. Like, Grim Monolith makes Spell Pierce a pretty awkward card to play against. I think I can cut a Myth Realized. Like, I think this matchup will come down to, like, I win or I don't. Like, I don't think I need an incremental sort of Myth Realized beatdown plan. The Sharks will do it if it's going to get done. And Mentor is pretty nice to pressure. I do like Mentor against combo decks. It might be better than Jace here. Jace might be slow, and they're Jeskai, so they might have Red Blast. So, alright. I'm doing this. Oh, pow! Well, I hope we're not dead on turn 2. Let's see, do I keep this hand? I might keep this hand. Like, we saw that Wasteland was pretty good against them last game. I'm keeping it. YOLO. And Null Rot, the way they can fight Wasteland is by having artifact mana. So, unless I'm just like dead on turn 1. Alright. The Ancient Tomb Go plan, especially with what I'm doing. That's just begging it for a Wasteland. Let's do it. Didn't need land number 8 there, but here we are. Alright, Force of Will. That's kind of helpful. We're halfway to it being good. Though they don't know what we're doing over here. We might just have like 7 counterspells in hand. We got some action here. Nope, just kidding, just fetching. Let's hope that's good, because we are quite literally all in on it. Karn the Great Creator. Alright, I don't love that, but there it is. Nullrod's activated abilities can't be activated again. Alright, what's the look? I would love a Brainstorm off the top of the deck right now. Oh, Liquid Metal Coating. Alright, yeah, so we're kind of fucked if we don't draw a blue card for Force of Will right now. Alright, well, we're fucked. Liquid Metal Coating can start picking off all our lands. And the good news is, we have a lot of lands. I should have played a fetch land to play around the coating a little bit. Yeah, if I ran out fetch lands, then they can't just pick them off willy-nilly. Oh wait, it can't get activated anyway. LOL! We're both very smart. My opponent made that play, and I thought it would work. Thanks for keeping track of things, Magic Online. I hope that they're on the other side thinking, wow, I'm so dumb, they're so smart. Because if I didn't have Null Rod, I definitely would have countered this. So I'm representing that I still have Counterspell, which otherwise would have been clear that I didn't, even though I don't. Don't tell my opponent. Narset, however, is a good card that I would have countered if I had a Counterspell. Now Brainstorm's real bad. Copy Artifact. Alright, so they can copy their Liquid Metal Coating. Alright, so they gave me Swords to Plowshares as a live out to destroy their card. Good thing I don't draw anything. It butt lands, though. Next turn I can hardcast Force, so we're getting there. If they play removal, or I guess they can just wish for Lattice this turn. I wonder if they're going to be that bold about it. Like, if they have a Force and a land, they're definitely just going to wish for Lattice. Okay, that doesn't appear to be happening. Alright, we are thoroughly locked out at this point. I need a Shark Typhoon, honestly. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Alright, so Saheeli deals 1 to me and scries. And it creates a copy of target artifact. Alright, I don't think that matters. The beatdowns are coming. Alright, so I am going to fetch here for the thinning. Normally that doesn't really matter, but when you play 21 lands and you've drawn 24 lands already, it starts to matter. Okay, so I have Force of Will now. If they go for Mycosynth Lattice, I at least have 1 level of protection. It would be super embarrassing for my opponent if I win this game. No offense to my opponent. Just would not make any sense at all if I come away with this victory. If they have Force of Will, it doesn't matter though. Okay. The Force of Will finally did something. If they are astute and paying attention, they'll probably realize, though, that I didn't have a blue card for the Force previously, or I just drew the Force. Oh. Alright. Give me a chance here. Don't kill me this turn, and I have a chance in this game. So the Shark's only a 4. It can kill Narset, or it can knock Karn or Saheeli down low enough to be manageable. I mean, Saheeli, if it's in play at even 1, is all that matters. Actually, that's not true. It has to be at 3 or more. No, the cat blinks it immediately, resetting its loyalty, so that doesn't matter. Alright, so Karn is where my attacks are going to go if I get another turn. Alright, we've been pinged. And they bottomed. They've bottomed all their scries. It's good for me. If they do go for Lattice, and even if they have Force backup, I can Shark to hit Karn and get free from the Lattice. Like, my shit will still be artifacts, but I'll be able to activate them. Actually, if they get Lattice, they lose, because I'll have a 4/4 Shark and Null Red is in play, so they can't actually get Lattice. Oh my god, please get Lattice. Nope, they're getting Ballista. That's pretty smart. But like, you can't activate Ballista either, so I don't know what the plan is here. Just like cast a 2/2, a 4-mana 2/2. Or a 6-mana 3/3. Alright, 4-mana 2/2 it is. And now I can kill Karn. Alright, we drew actual counterspell. I'm starting to feel better about this game. And Wasteland. Like Wasteland. Attack Karn the Great Creator. Alright, one less problem. Alright, I have this Wasteland. Where does it go? The cat is a white card. So I'm just going to take them off white. Search your library for 3 artifacts with different names, put them out of the battlefield. Alright, so Saheeli is a turn away from going ultimate. I should probably respect that a little bit. We are in kind of a race, too. Like, I have to... Like, the Saheeli has put me down to 10, plus these 2 hits. And this 4-mana 2/2. I need another Shark Typhoon. That's gonna... Or Hall of Heliod's Generosity. I beseech you, Heliod. The Coveted Jewel. When Coveted Jewel enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attack you and aren't blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control of a Coveted Jewel. Okay, so I could counter this, and they wouldn't draw 3 cards, but I'm gonna... Oh, they have Narset. I see how this works. Alright. Okay. That's the combo. Yeah, if Narset wasn't in play, I would have just let this thing resolve. But she is, so I can't. I want a counterspell or a shark. Those are my good draws. That wasn't one of them. Yeah, we're actually starting to like burn it down to the end here. This damage is somewhat considerable. Alright, it looks like they found their combo. Right on time. Oh, Teferi is also really good and bad for me. Okay, my speculative hand of Null Rod 6 lands that drew almost only land since then. Like, I've played this game literally on Force of Will, Shark Typhoon, and Counterspell. Those are the only spells I've drawn this game. And it was still close. But this Teferi's going to lock it down. Teferi bounces Shark, and then I can't win anymore. I'm going to stick around and see how... what else I can see out of their deck. Knowing that they have Narset and, like, Teferi, like, all this shit is pretty valuable. I'll probably draw one more card and then concede if it's not good. Right, Shark has bounced. No surprise there. Alright, so this is going to change my sideboarding plan a lot, knowing that they're this, like, Planeswalker prison deck with a combo finish, and they're not really, like, a combo deck. Eh? Eh? I don't get to draw a card because of Narset, but I do get to clear this Walking Ballista. It'll be back, and in greater numbers. This Saheeli has done more damage than any Saheeli in history, I think. So she starts at 3. She was at 7 at one point. That's 4. She's back up to 5. That's 6. She's done 6 actual damage. Like, strictly better Lava Axe at this point. Because it also scryed 1 6 times and cost half as much as Lava Axe does. They cast that Ballista for 2, like, 3 or 4 turns ago, and somehow they still only have enough mana to cast it for 2. Like, every card in their hand has to be a spell. Where are their land drops? Alright, that would normally be good. However, we are under a Teferi. I guess they are at 5, though. It probably doesn't matter. With me being at 4, like if I drew Shark Typhoon this turn, I could just shark them to death. Alright. They managed to combo me out on the turn I was also dead. Alright. Now we have much more information to work with. So, Crucible probably is actually great. Mindbreak Trap, not so much. I had the Back to Basics in already. Still like the Mentor to pressure. Planeswalkers. This deck seems really susceptible to standstill, actually, on future consideration. I don't. So, they showed me Karn, so Disenchant is probably worth having. Spell Pierce is going to line up pretty well everywhere along their curve. Swords to Plowshares is even worse than I expected. Alright, I guess that's still out of respect for the cat combo. Maybe it's just that one switch of Mindbreak Trap out, Crucible back in. Or, I probably want Jace in a matchup like this. Oh wait, no, these Deafening Silences are not good. Yeah, they're not like going off. Like showing me multiple Grim Monoliths in game 1 and the copy artifacts made me think they might be like crazy going off, but Deafening Silence and Mindbreak Trap are not needed. Myth Realized to pressure Planeswalkers. I do want that happening. And all the rest of these cards look good too. Unfortunately, that's too many. I'm not going to cut any Shark Typhoons because they've shown me they're a Teferi deck. Back to Basics. Is that too cute or is it perfect? I think it's probably perfect. Maybe Teferi is the weak sauce. They showed me... I don't think they've shown me a counterspell. Alright, let's do this. For all the marbles. Alright, our opening hand's pretty good. A lot better than the Nullrod 6 lands hand that I thought was playable last round. And in my defense, it was. My opponent was at 5 at the end of that game. Like a single Shark or Snapcaster Mage at any point along the way probably could have closed that out. We have Island Ponder, that's a keep. Crucible of Worlds is going to hit all our land drops. I don't need all that. That's a rehash of last game. Alright. That's a spell. We like those. Alright, so if they cast like Grim Monolith here, I'll just Judgment it. Alright, I'll Judgment that too. I don't need to cast Crucible this turn, because casting it on curve doesn't do anything, because you want to get a land drop out of it right away. It's the Re-Chalice, alright. Not a huge deal. Oh. That's a lot better than Crucible. Myth realized. Coast to coast. They missed their land drop last turn too, so this back to basics is extra brutal. Crucible of Worlds. Guess I could brainstorm to get an extra damage in. I mean, I might as well. Let's see, does that change the clock? So it would take me 6 attacks to kill them as a 3/3, and 5 attacks to kill them as a 4/4. So yes, that does change the clock. I'm just trying to get them dead at this point. They're clearly hampered. Just end the game before they wiggle their way out. So I'm doing shark math right now. So they're at 12. Okay, so now that they've fetched, does that change anything? Yeah, so I get to make a 4/4 shark. Right. So if I attack for 4, they're at 8. And then I make a 3/3 shark, and I can plow for an extra trigger. Yeah, so they're on a 2-turn clock right now. And an Ancient Tomb or Fetch Land or anything just makes it worse for them. I would love to find a Force of Will, just in case. Like, I don't know what they could be doing. Like, they're kind of stuck under their own chalice here, too. Oh, JK, there's a Lotus Petal. Alright, Grim Monolith. So they'll have 3 or 4 mana available next turn. Make my land drop. So there's no point in spewing a spell this turn, because I'll get that 1 damage back as a 1 point bigger shark anyway. Basically just have to hope that they can't actually win with 4 mana. Like my shark could also cycle into a force. There's 4 wills and 1 negation in the deck, so I am cycling to a 5-outer if I do need it. I just hope I don't need it. But they are dead on board if they don't answer one of these threats or kill me. They're just passing the turn. That is not a path to victory on this board. Right, 3/3 shark plus the brainstorm for the extra lore counter is enough. Here comes 8 damage. Boom. Myth realized. This league and this deck was really sweet. Both of our losses, I think, could reasonably be wins. Like, those are the types of decks I want to play against. Like the Maverick and the Esper Vial, like those creature-heavy decks against my Triple Supreme Verdict, 4 Swords to Plowshares deck. Like, that is what I want to play against. I like this deck. I like the position of this deck. This engine, the Hall and the Shark Typhoon, was genuinely bananas. Like, make a sundae, chop up some bananas, put some fudge on it. That was amazing. So I'm going to be exploring this deck more. I think NRG Gaming has a legacy tournament of some kind this week. I'm going to see if I can enter that still. So I like it. Super into it. Thanks for watching. I will be working on this more in the future. See you next time.